What up? What up? Michael David H here, and welcome to Brown Words and Pictures, the channel dedicated to helping out amateur children's book illustrators and inspiring 2D animators. And today I'm going to be diving more into Procreate Dreams, but today I really want to focus on the stage area and the timeline area and get to a get into some really good details about that area and some frame by frame animation. I want to explain the stage and timeline area in great detail to help those who don't understand it a lot more. So let's open up one of the pre-made movies already established in Procreate Dreams, and then we will go into details about that. Like I said before, this top area up here, this is called the stage, and the surrounding black area is called the backstage. When you export or turn or finalize your movie, the only part that's going to be shown is the stage, the rectangular area. The backstage is not going to be shown, but you can use the backstage when creating your movie. Like you may want a character walking off scene, or you may want the camera to pan across, going back and forth and following them. And if you have like maybe if you have like a forest that that's been drawn off into the backstage area, the camera pans and follows that character. And because you have the trees over here, the stage will move, and it'll begin to pick up those trees over there as the character's walking in that direction. So you can see how you could use that for the most part. But let's talk more about the top area, the stage. Over here, you click over here, that brings up stage options. If you want to show your onion skins, you click here, and if you want to hide it, you click here. Onion skin, what that particularly is when you, for the most part, when you do frame by frame animation, onion skins allow you to see the drawings that you did before and the drawings that you did after the current frame. So you can have that set to 3 frames before and 3 frames after, or you can do even more than that, or even less than that, or you can shut it off completely. But that helps you to make your animation, your frame by frame animation, more accurate, so that when you're doing a particular movement, you kind of fall in line with the key drawings, and the key frames fall in line because you have the before drawing and the after drawing. So when you draw the in-between drawing, you kind of know where your drawing needs to be. You can also edit like the onion skin's color. You can change the colors of the before colors and the after colors. You can choose from these particular colors, and if you want your onion skins to be really prevalent and showing on the screen, you can have it at 100% opacity, or you can reduce that those onion skins so it's not too forward. Because for me, I like to have mine a little bit pushed back so it's not so distracting as I'm drawing the current frames. Now, you can also change the background color of the stage. Right now it's set to white here, as you can see, but you can make it transparent, or you can click out, or you can change it over here. You can't see it here because this is a pre-made movie already set, so Procreate probably have all the things already established and you can't see it. But I'll open that up in a in another dream file, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about changing that to transparent or changing the background color. Now let's step down over into the timeline area. This is a very robust area, and a lot happens down here. Let me explain. If you click here, this takes you back to the theater where all your files will be held. Takes you back to where the theater is at, and you click that, you get back into your movie. If you click this right here, that takes you to the some deeper functions of the timeline. You can look at the properties of the movie. You have the frames per second. You have the duration. You have the width and the height. And these can be changed to your specifications or to your liking. You can click over to stage, where it allows you to have your underskins blend with the primary frame. Then you have the timeline here, which you can edit that as well. You can have your timeline play in one shot. What that means is the timeline of the playhead will play through your animation or movie one time and stop. If you leave it on ping pong, which is this one, what's going to happen is the playhead will play from the beginning, and when it gets to the end, it will start from the end and play it backwards, like going back and forth. Thus the name ping pong. Or you can have it on loop. Of course, you pretty much know what loop is, when the playhead will play a movie, get to the end, and go back to the front, and keep doing that until you set it to stop. And then you have share. Sharing, of course, allows you to export your movies. You can export it into video. You can export it as a frames as images. You can export just the current frame, or you can put it into Procreate Dreams or create a dream file. And then there's the custom settings. You could change the format to video or frames as image. You can change the codec from these two, HEVC or to H.264. I pretty much don't know what all that means, so I'm not going to get into details about that. You can rescale. You can from document size to 720p, 1080, or 4K, or you can have it. You can make it more customized to your liking. Then there's the file container. This is the file extension. You can have your files export as a movie, or you can have them export as MP4 files. And then you have the audio. You can change that audio from AAC, or you can make it linear PCM. And those pretty much are the preferences. Now you can change the preferences. Like I said, if you want, like in Procreate, the original application, if you want to change where you're editing and opacity and brush thickness is, you can put it from one side to the next. This allows you to do that, changing it from left to right. There's dynamic brush scaling. You can toggle on the add keyframe at start. It also has allowing you to enable painting with your finger. Also enable timeline edit with your finger. And you can rotate stage with pinch zoom. All these can be toggled on or toggled off if you like. Another thing that I like to say is this part. You can set how many steps going forward that once it gets to a certain point, you can undo. After 51, if you draw 50 steps, you can undo 50 steps. If you draw 51 things, it's only going to undo 50, but you can change that to more of your liking. Maybe you want to do maybe 100 steps, or I know, whatever your iPod capacity allows. But I like that because, believe it or not, just picking up the pen and putting it down, that counts as a step pretty much. And when you're drawing in these programs, so the more steps, the better, depending on, like I said, how you work or your workflow is. And then we can come on down here to the timeline itself. I mentioned this before, where you can actually expand the timeline and you can actually shrink the timeline. You can scale it up and down to get a closer view of what's going on, because sometimes you may need to see what's going on, especially with audio, or maybe a scene. You may want to get more details to what's happening by getting a closer look. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 icons over here. Of course, this button is the play button that plays the movie. I can play it. And I also wanted to say something too as well. You can tap this to play it, or you can touch the playhead and throw it to the front, and it will play the movie from the beginning like this. And it'll play it from the beginning like that. That's a nice little feature there. You can stop it. Like I said, you can play it like that from there as well. Also, there is the performance tool. I explained that before. I won't get into that again, but for the most part, that's also for animation. You click that and then you move your illustration around, and it's going to be recording the pathway that you are moving the illustration around, whether with your finger or with your Apple Pen. And then once you stop and press play, whatever pathway you took, it's going to follow that path in animation, so you don't have to redraw every frame when using the performance tool. And then you have this here. This is for grouping. This allows you to group things together. Once that's clicked, you can highlight by doing something like this. Now you have all that selected, and now you can group that stuff together if you like. And then we have this tool here, which is for drawing, which is really for the frame by frame animation. As you can see, some of the similar tools over here that Procreate had in this original application. This is for the opacity, brush opacity, and this is for the brush thickness. And then you have some of the same tools up here, which you have like the paint, your brush tools. So you can select the different brushes that you may want to be using. Of course, you know Procreate has a lot of nice brushes. They have the smudge tool. Then they have the eraser tool. And with this particular movie, we can't see layers because they're grouped. But I'm going to open up another movie, and I can show you some of the layers here. And then if you select plus, it allows you to add different things to your timeline. You can add a track, you can add photos, you can add video, you can add text, and you can add files to your timeline. And these are all good depending on what you want to add to your movie. But let me go over into now the theater and pull up a frame by frame animation that I've been working on. It's pretty rough. Everything is still rough here, but I think I mentioned this before. I'm going to be making a kid opening up a present, and he didn't get what he wanted, and for the most part he's upset or whatever. You can check it out here. Right, so that's pretty much what that is. I don't know if you guys could see that, but let me make it really bigger here, and then you can see it here. I don't want to block it, but it's going to play. Let me see. It's going to play pretty fast. There we go. Well, it's acting pretty funny here, but let me play it for you. Yeah, the timing is not there yet because still working on it. But now, what I wanted to show you guys with this here, it was one thing I wanted to show you with the timeline. Was it with? I believe it was this here. It was with the drawing. Oh yeah, the layers. Right. Okay. Cool. Let me pull this out and come up here to this track, because this track is not in the group. Now if I click on this, I can add a layer, another layer to this timeline. The difference between this Procreate Dreams and Procreate, the regular illustration app, is remember before if you held on this, you had a whole bunch of different functions and things you can use. Procreate Dreams doesn't have that at the moment. Some of that stuff does exist in the timeline, but that's a whole nother video that I will get in, and we'll be talking about that later. But you can also still do some of the other things like opacity, darken, color burn, linear burn, and some of the different settings here you can use on the layers like you used in the regular Procreate app. But that's pretty much it. What I wanted to show you, I wanted to give you a good details on the stage and timeline area. And for the most part, just to give you a little sneak peek, like I said, I'm going to be, for the most part, using Procreate Dreams for frame by frame animation. And what I'm also going to be doing is I'm going to be going through the Animator's Survivor's Kit, which is a book written by Richard Williams, who is the director and animator of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And we're going to go through that as we develop our skills using Procreate Dreams, looking at some of that stuff, doing some of the assignments, and bringing them back here, sharing our work, getting better, and just developing our skills to mastery until we are full proficient in 2D animation based on the books like Animator Survivor Kit, and maybe watching things from Aaron Blaze and different ones like that. Anyway, thanks for tuning in again, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.